Well, hi everyone, and thank you for coming to our Advanced PowerPoint webinar. So this webinar series is a continued collaboration between All Tech Services, Data Magic, Global Quest, and Global Data Systems, where we provide training to our clients. And today we are joined by Microsoft 365 expert Kamal, who is a Microsoft 365 end user experience engineer, and we're happy to have him back and look forward to his presentation on Microsoft PowerPoint. So thank you, Kamal, and I'll pass it over to you.
All right, thanks, Maddie. Thank you all for joining and this PowerPoint presentation. This is going to be unique. It's different than your typical presentation if I'm going to be using PowerPoint to talk about PowerPoint. So do I need a PowerPoint presentation about it? So what I did is we have a PowerPoint deck, but we're going to use that deck that we're presenting to show you a lot of the features. We're not going to do any screenshots. It's all demo within the same presentation that I'm using. So instead of doing a presenter mode like this, all of the agenda that you see in front of you, we're going to go through them. We're going to modify this deck that we have. And then at the end of the session, we're going to present it in Teams, a meeting that I have set up that I'm going to join. And I'll show you how users see that presentation when you're done with it. So I'm going to hit the escape now, and you'll see my actual PowerPoint. I am on Windows 11. I just want to give a few disclaimers. I'm on Windows 11. I'm using the PowerPoint desktop, the most up-to-date version that Microsoft has released. So keep in mind your organization might have enabled or has different version of PowerPoint and Windows as well. So if you see things that are different, that's why. But 99% of the features I'm going to show you today, you should have them even if you're on, I would say 2021, a version from 2021. So we're going to get started. The way there's no demo. I kept that slide just because the demo is we're going to keep going to the next slides. I'm going to go through and talk about the quick access toolbar on top, give you some of my favorite and the most used features in each of these sections, from file, home, and all of these tabs on top. We're going to talk about then the web version and collaborating with others, and then Microsoft Teams, presenting in Microsoft Teams. So one of my favorite things in the taskbar, and this applies actually to all of the Office applications, whether you are on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, autosave will show up usually on the top left if you are using OneDrive or SharePoint to save your documents. So I like to save all my documents in OneDrive. This way they will automatically save. I don't need to every time hit the save button. But some people, if you have a large document, I recommend that you turn this off when you start editing it and manually save it. Just as a tip, because it might crash, and then because it's saving every minute. And that's why we have that toggle, and I like to keep it. There's the save, undo, redo. But what if you don't like these buttons? You don't use them. Why are they taking space? There's that arrow, the customized quick access toolbar. I know you can do it from the options, but you can do it really quickly here. And my favorite is email. I'm going to remove it and add it again. This is awesome because when you're done editing your document and you want to share it as an attachment via Outlook, and if you use Outlook, you just hit that button and it will take your presentation as is, put it in an email in Outlook, and you can send it to. If you prefer to share the document via link or directly from your OneDrive, then the share button is all the way on the right hand side. And we'll do this at the end to show you how we can collaborate with someone else. So this is the quick access bar. Look, if you want more commands, you have them. You can access them and make some changes and add things that may not have shown. There's some companies that offer some custom quick access actions. You can add them here as well. And here in the middle, that's where you can rename your file, and you can look at the version history. The minute you save it in OneDrive, you will be able to see who modified this document last and when. So that's about it from the quick access toolbar. I'm going to move to the next one, which is file and home features. Here, you'll find a lot of things that you can do. It is very basic. Most of us have used PowerPoint. If you haven't used PowerPoint, you use Outlook. This is the same. Microsoft, across their tools, they use the same kind of home bar, and text editor, and so on. But in terms of when you start a new document in the file section, is one thing I want to show you, is that you have a lot of themes that you can start with. But if your organization uses their own templates, they're usually published in this section. A lot of people always go to that company's intranet site, they download the template, but the majority of companies publish them here. So take a look, see if it's not published and your company doesn't have templates published within the themes section. You can also see your recommended, most recent documents that you worked on. And as you should know, probably on the left-hand side is where you can save a copy, print it, check your account feedback. I don't want to go through these details. If you attended the OneNote session or the Teams session or even any of the other ones, they're very similar. But that's where you can find them, is in this section. I want to focus on some of the features in PowerPoint. I'm going to talk about Format Painter. You can see here we have this slide, and this second bullet point looks very different than the first bullet point. So to easily move the formatting from that first one to the second bullet point, just highlight the text, and then you can use this brush, which is the Format Painter. Very simple, but a lot of people forget that it's there. Just highlight it and then highlight the text that you want to copy the format from, and click on Format Painter, and then slide it over the bullet point or the text that you want to modify, and you can see now how it looks exactly the same as the first bullet point. The second thing is that eyedropper. Eyedropper is if you're trying to color, let's say you're inserting a box. I'm going to insert a circular shape like this. It's in blue, but I want it to maybe look like something else within the presentation. Or I'll take it a little bit further and say, I want it to look like, I want to use the same color as the Microsoft Teams color right here at the bottom. You see this, the Microsoft Teams color in this post, start a post. How do I get it? Well, the way I do it is I take a screenshot, and if you don't know how to, you can use the snipping tool or Windows Shift S, and that will allow you to get to the screenshot. And I take it, and then once you do that, it will go to your clipboard, and you can paste it in here. So now I have it in my presentation, a screenshot from some place on my desktop. To change the color of the fill of this circle that I created to match that specific color in the start a post screenshot that I took, you go to the shape fill. That's what I want to change, or any color, even if you're trying to change the outline, the font color, all of them have this eyedropper. And then you can just hover over the color that you want. It will give you the code, the RGB code in this case, and you can select it, and then it will change the color of the inner circle. So that's one of the cool features, because if you even want to, maybe you're not using it in your presentation, you're trying to just get the color from, if you're in marketing and you're trying to get the color of a brand you're working with or your own company colors, and you can't figure out the actual code for it, that's one way. I always take a screenshot, put it in here, use the eyedropper, and then I have that color. Add-ins have moved into the home section. They were in the insert. Some companies, disclaimer, they block the add-ins. And some companies have only specific approved add-ins. In this situation, I have everything available to me in this private tenant. So you can get one of my favorites, the break time, and then there's the countdown. You can use those if you're doing a training session, for example, you want to do a 10-minute break, then you can use that break time, and it will add a timer, a countdown. You can do 10 minutes, you can do 5 minutes, whatever you want. And then when you're presenting, you can start it. It will count down. Once it's done, it will give an alert. You can put it on its own slide. You can put it as part of a slide, however you want it. And when you hit start, you can see how it starts the timer. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and copy it into a new slide. And now we have a 10-minute timer. All right. We're going to go back to this slide 5 to take a look at other add-ins. I've used the Forms one before. It integrates with your own Microsoft Forms tenant where you can see any form that you created. You can take the link and copy, paste it into that form, and it will display the questions. It's one of those that I like. However, it only works if you're presenting directly from the PowerPoint. If you're using Teams, I'll show this at the end, to present, it may not show up. So here you can take, you can go to your Microsoft form, take the link of a document that you already have and use it inside your form. So I'm going to go to Forms. It's part of your Office apps, Microsoft Forms. You can go to it directly by going to forms.office.com. We also did a presentation on this a while back. Let's see if I have any form. Oh, I have this one, PowerPoint quiz. So I'm going to click on collect responses, take that link, and paste it into my presentation. Insert, interactive meeting, and now this will show up as one of the, as a question. PowerPoint add-ins are available for anyone, yes or no. Users can take a picture of this barcode and they can get it and respond to it from their end. So they're not, you're presenting it, how are they going to click? They can't. The way they do it is they can take a picture of this, or they can copy the URL. You can copy it, paste it in the chat of the meeting that you have. People will start voting. Once people voted, you can see, show the correct answer. In this case is no. They're not available for anyone because your organization might disable them. All right. Just some of my favorite add-ins. There are a lot more. Kahoot, if you have an account, you can use it. Power BI, if you want to add the visuals, that's available as well. And there's so many more. If they're not enabled, again, ask your admins. Maybe they can enable it for you. The YouTube one is also nice. I've used it where a lot of times you copy a video in and it just doesn't work. This one will help you just get that video to work when you're presenting. Now let's move to, let's see if I missed anything here. Nope. The next one is the insert. So the insert tab has so many things. You've probably seen them. I'm going to start with the shapes and lines. So if you use the shape and you inserted another circle like we did earlier, but then you've been modifying it for a while, or let's say you got a presentation from someone else that already had shapes, and they customize that shape. So if you want to recreate it, sometimes even copy paste, it takes a minute. Just all you have to do is the shift button, hold actually it's the control button, and then you can move it around. If you use the control button and then slide it, it creates a copy. If you use the shift button and make it smaller or bigger, just keep adjusting it, it's going to keep the same size, just bigger or smaller. Sometimes it's an oval. If you press and hold the shift, make it bigger and smaller, it will keep that same layout. It will just keep it in a perfect alignment. So that's the perfect shapes that you can adjust them using the shift button. Control and then drag, it will create a copy of it. Same thing with lines, it will keep them at a 90-degree angle. Let's go back to the insert. The second one is screen recording. This one is, there are multiple things, but the screenshot, you can take a screenshot of your desktop. So if you have any, if you want to take a screenshot rather than using the clipping board or other things, you can use the screenshot feature. And you can do a screenshot of anything within your desktop, not only in PowerPoint. And it will come straight into your PowerPoint. All right. Another one that's helpful is reuse slide. If you have a lot of presentations, reuse slide will go and find something similar, and you can take slides from it and add it to your presentation. You can choose content, you find it, choose content, select the slide that you want to add. In this case, I want to add maybe, let's see, this gentleman here to this slide, and it will add it right away. It's really helpful if you're someone who has a lot of slides and you're always constantly working in them, then it will easily find something, and it's usually relevant. It will know that has the same title, it's from the same team sites, and it will show it to you as a reuse. This is one of the 3 AI features that they have within PowerPoint, is the reuse slide. The other one is actually from the home page. I missed showing you this one, but it's the designer. The designer allows you to design your whole deck. So now I have no design on any of the slides that you're seeing. So if I want to add that design, it's recommending something very simple, very light. That's the recommendation that Microsoft is giving me in PowerPoint. However, it can do a lot more. So for example, this slide inserts saying, hey, I'm going to add some icons for you. Let me delete this. Maybe it's confusing it a little bit. And it's just adding them in a very nice layout. I mean, look at this. This is really nice. It's just in a click of a button. That's the other AI they have other than the reuse slides. It is designing your slides and it's keeping it consistent. It knew that everything I have is simple. It kept it to that simple design. You can add something that will change the whole deck if you select the whole section. Actually, you can select multiple slides, I thought. No, it's not letting me do that. But designer, you can design the first one. I added something relevant. It's talking about PowerPoint training. The second one is the agenda. If you look at how it's laid out, it's not very nice. I have a tiny screenshot on the bottom right, but I actually like this one. There you go. My slide is done. So in some cases, all you have to do is get the content in there, go to designer, and just let it design the slide for you. If you don't like it, you can always go back to remove the design and just go back to the basic version. I'm going to delete the demo one. Let's see in here what it's recommending. A few things, a few options. Maybe this, because it has the screenshot, but I even adjusted the size of that screenshot. All right, so we talked about screen recording, reusing slide, now pictures, and there's an exercise. Insert a stock picture on the next slide. So when you hit the insert button, there's the picture option, insert a picture. This one, if you use the stock images, Microsoft guarantees that all the images they provide you, you're allowed to use them. Especially if they're stock images, you can use them even in marketing material because they are listed as stock images. You can use the online picture, and if you Google Yankees, for example, it's not going to show up Yankees pictures because they're all copyrighted. But if you use the stock images or something from your device, you can get a Yankees picture that way. The stock images, you can use them, you can reuse them for marketing material or presentation or slides that might be external facing, no problem. Or you can bring in images from your company. So I'm going to go with maybe this photo right here, and I'm going to insert it. All right, so now I have a picture that I use using the insert icon. Now, if you select that image, a new tab on top will pop up called Picture Format. There are a lot of features there, but one of my favorite that I use it, and it's the only reason I no longer have Adobe products, is because I can remove background of images, for example. I can modify how that image looks from PowerPoint directly. So if you click on remove background, it will automatically decide, okay, I'm going to move background. But if you look at this, do you think it removed the right background? No, it missed some of the hair, it missed some of the clothing. So what you can do is you can add mark areas to keep. If you select down, you can just highlight the section that you want to keep, and it will keep it in the image. See, that's what it did. If you want to remove an area, be the hand here. If you highlight it, give it a second, it removed it. It's in the middle of the picture, so it's a little bit hard for it, but it's a very simple way of modifying images, keeping them, and removing background, for example, if you took a picture of something. And I think that we have a pretty decent version of that image now. Maybe add a little bit of the hair here on top. Perfect. Once you're done, keep changes, and then you have an image with no background. Pretty decent, pretty good. Let's delete this. This is another exercise. You can do the same thing. Picture format, remove background, and do the same thing. and then you can use it in your presentation. Cropping, there are multiple ways you can crop an image. You can crop it just through the basic cropping feature, which is if it's a rectangular or any shape or any format, that's how you can crop it. But you can add other crop to shape. So if you wanted a circle and focus on that person's face, then you can use the circle option. Crop to shape, a bunch of shapes, a star, whatever you want to use. All right, let me see if I missed any features from here, from the insert. I think we're good. All right. I showed this already, but it's really nice feature. You can copy, press and hold Control and quickly copy and paste that same one. I know you can use Control C, but it's a quick way to, as you're working on slides, to copy. I'm holding the Control button right now as I'm doing this. Drawing. So now I'm in the next tab. Drawing is more useful if you probably have a touch tablet or a touch screen. I don't, but I can still use it in using my mouse. I can select any of the pens available, and I can type. I'm using my mouse. I think that's pretty good with a mouse. But you can transfer ink to text if you want, ink to shape, ink to mouth is one of the really nice one. I showed this one in OneNote, where you can write a function, a formula, or anything like that, an equation, and it will do the math for you. Right. The next one is design. Design has some default themes that you can use. This will modify it for the slide or the deck, but they're also, the format background is something I like because you can really customize it and take it to the next step more than what just Microsoft is giving you as a template and a theme. So this one, you can use a solid background. So if I use this color, then it will change the background of this slide. But then you have the gradient fill, so you can do more of layers and stop it at a specific section and then use it. You can apply it to all slides right away. You can reset to default if you'd like. And there's different patterns that you can use and apply to all of the slides. All right, transition. Transition has been recently less and less used. Transitions and animations, they're not as common nowadays, but I'm going to briefly go over them. One of my favorite transitions is the morph, and a lot of people like it, but there's a way to take it also to the next level. As you can see, I have two slides. If I delete the second one and I just select this one to use morph, let me show you how that is going to look. So if I present, and I go to the next slide, it will just pop up. But sometimes you need to just move a shape from one side of the slide to the other so you can display more content. So what I would recommend, duplicate that slide and that shape, maybe move it to the right-hand side, press and hold shift to keep the same aspects of it, and then move it to the right. Now, if I select morph for this, then it will, when you transition, you'll see how it's going to look. It will take that same shape because you use the same shape. It will take it and make it bigger. And that's really helpful as you're moving maybe from a box. If you highlighted the box because you are highlighting a section of the project, you're on month 1, but then the next slide you want to talk about the second month, you can do that transition that now we move to this month. Sometimes it's in a different section of the slide. Create multiple slides and use this instead of and then highlight the text using a box the same way and just transition it using the morph transition feature. All right. And then the next one, animations, I'm going to skip that one. I don't really use it. It's very straightforward, just how the whole slide is going to appear in terms of animation. Slideshow, Microsoft has been improving this a lot. And honestly, it's very underused. If you are someone who presents a lot and you are in PowerPoint on daily basis, you need to be using the slideshow section. In the slideshow, it's not only about clicking that present button, the slideshow, or start from the beginning. There's so many other features. Rehearse with a coach is really powerful because it allows you to start recording yourself presenting, and then at the end, it will give you feedback on how you're doing. It will tell you that you use a lot of you use the word a lot, or you use the word like a lot, or the transition is not as good. I honestly sometimes feel like I need to use it. I'm using a lot of those transitions as I presenting, so it could help me and it could help a lot of people with learning where they can improve in their presentation. So that's rehearsing with the coach. And then there's rehearse timings. You can say, I want to spend 5 minutes per slide. Then if you go over, it will tell you where you're going over, how long you're spending per slide. You can record yourself even. You can record from the current slide and then reuse it within your presentation if you don't want to present it live. So a lot of features there. You can add subtitle settings. You can add other features to it. This one is the presenting, and it has a lot of, you can add even the notes that you're going to say as a prompter and just use it in your presentation. You record yourself. I don't have the camera enabled, but if I turn on the camera and the microphone, I can record the whole thing, and then I can publish it with my video, and I'm reading from it. I'm looking at the camera, and I'm able to save it as a separate video. All right. Similar features you can see in the record. Screen recording is one of my favorite. Screen recording, if you are trying to create tips and tricks, let's say, tips and tricks for an application or a tool that you use, and you want to send to other team members that maybe have different time zone, you want to tell them, here's how I'm doing this task. So use PowerPoint. You don't need any other tool because this is screen video recording, not just a screenshot. This actually is recording your screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And then you can select which tab you want this to use. And then let's say I want my whole screen. Actually, I'll do a small section of my screen, right? And then you can hit the record button. And now it started recording. I'm in Microsoft Teams. I want to show my team members where this specific document is. So I'm going to go to Design, Files, and my presentation is right here. And I'm done. I'll just hit the stop, and you'll see this recording pop up over here in my presentation. And if I hit the play button, it will play that video screen recording. And you can see how I clicked on design. It went to my file section, and I can highlight the document. So I'm going to minimize this and then keep it in my presentation because I need to show it to my team. All right, now let's say you're done with your deck. You have your presentation ready. You're ready to share it with a different team member. If this is saved on OneDrive, then it's very easy to share it with other team members and allow them to co-author with you. But before that, you want to probably check other things within your presentation. Is it ready to go out? Is it accessible? Do I need to translate anything to different audiences? So all of that is in the review tab. In the review tab, you can see how you can translate. You can check for any issues with your language. If you're using a different language, let's say Spanish, then you can do the language proofing there. Check accessibility. If you want to do that, click on it and it will give you recommendations on every section of your deck that is not accessible. And as you can see, I have 12 errors. These are mainly description of the objects, because if you selected, you can add a description. You can even ask Microsoft to generate the text for you and save it. And now your deck is accessible in terms of making sure that you have the description. You can add slide titles. Some of the slides don't have a title, so it will point you exactly where you're missing any of them. So that's accessibility and translate. Now, how do you share with other? There's the share button on the top right. If you don't want to attach it as an email, you want someone else to join your presentation and actually edit the document with you at the same time, you can hit the share button to share it with someone new that haven't seen the document before, probably, and you can type in their name and email address and they'll see it. If someone you already know they have access to that document, you can use the copy link and you can send it to a team member. So it's already copied and it's in my clipboard. So I'm going to take that copied link and I'm going to give it to a teammate. This is a different account that the different color web browser is showing a different user. And they got that link, pasted it into their browser, and now they are in the document. They can see whatever I have. They can see my changes, but they can also add their own changes, and they can make their own changes. So in here, maybe I want to delete the translate section, or I'm going to actually, instead of deleting it, highlight it in red. If I go back to the PowerPoint, I will see now this got highlighted, and I see exactly where this teammate, Patty, is in my document. And if I'm on slide 11 and I see them log in and they're editing, I can click their name or a profile picture on the top. You can go to the location where they're actually modifying, which slide they're modifying in my presentation. In the review section, you can also add comment to your presentation and you can show changes since the last time you joined. So let's say you've been out for a while and Patty edited half of the document. Then if you click on show changes, then it will tell you where those changes were made. Now she's already in it, so it's highlighting this section. I'm going to go to her account, to the other user's account, and I'm going to add comments. I'm going to say, highlight maybe this text here, review. You can either right click and add a comment or use the review. If you right click, you can say new comment, at mention any of the users. I'm going to mention myself. Can you modify this to modify this and include more features? And you can assign it to that individual. When you click on that sign button, actually, it will notify them via email and remind them in the future. If you don't do it, they'll still get notified and they might get that email, but they're not going to get reminded. It's not more of a task. If you assign it, it becomes a task in their Office 365 task list. I'm going to send it. Now on the PowerPoint deck, if I go back to it, I'll be able to see where it's been modified. And here on the left-hand side, I can see that there's one comment that has been assigned to me. If I see it, I've been tagged and I can reply to it. I can like, and I can close it as well. Once I'm done, I can just resolve the thread. It's done. It doesn't need to be modified. This is really good for collaborating with others, and you can have, I think, up to 100 users now in PowerPoint that can collaborate at the same time. I highly doubt you're going to need that many users, but it's available and you can co-author and edit the deck at the same time. And now here, what you see in front of you, this is PowerPoint on the web. The majority of the features in the desktop app are available on the web. I like it if I'm accessing it on the go, or if I don't want to open PowerPoint because it could be very heavy, I use the web version. It does have a lot of the same features, You can add comments, you can co-author. It's even better for co-authoring than using the desktop application, and you're guaranteed that your content is being saved in OneDrive right away. You finish your presentation, you're ready to present, right? So I'm going to delete this as a duplicate slide. You're ready to present to your team. You are in a Microsoft Teams meeting. So I'm going to join a meeting first. There you go. So I joined the meeting. There you go. I'm in the meeting. Someone else, I'm going to have another individual join that same meeting. Just to show you the view from both sides, I'm going to show you the view on the user's end, but also on the presenter's end. Now, Teams, I'm using also the new Microsoft Teams, but the sharing features work exactly the same way as the old version of Teams and the new Teams. When you click on the share button, you have a bunch of features. You can add the PowerPoint live. You can do it directly from your PowerPoint, from Microsoft Teams. However, from the PowerPoint deck itself, if you're already in the meeting, let's say you're modifying this, and you want to present this deck that you already have open, there's on the top right, present in Teams. If you're already in a meeting, it will go back to that meeting and share that deck with all the attendees as a live presentation. Sorry, let me do it again. Present in Teams, present, and you can see presenting your slides as a PowerPoint live deck. Now, how is this different than sharing your screen or sharing a screen that has a PowerPoint deck? The difference is that, let's look at the end user side. This is the end user. And what they can see is they can see the whole deck and they can navigate through the deck and see what's coming up. Only use this if you know that this is a deck you're okay with users moving forward or going back. I really like when presenters do that because I'm able to go back. Sometimes I missed something, they moved too fast, and I can go back to the previous slide that they were discussing and I know what was going on, and I maybe can take a screenshot or take additional notes. But in some cases, you may not want the users to be able to see this one. So from the presenter's view, your view, there's this button on top that says private view. If you click on it, and if I go back to that user, then they're back on slide one. They know there are 15 slides, but they cannot navigate through it from right to left. They can just stay wherever you are, right? So that's really nice. I like it. Let me show you from the presenter view. If you want to change it back to like the same view that users are seeing, you can hide presenter's view. This is something I really do a lot because Teams, when you do just share screen, you don't know what the users are seeing. This one, you know for sure what they're seeing because that's their view. You can also add the laser pointer, you can highlight, you can add text. So all of that, you can see exactly what's happening. But when you're presenting directly from your PowerPoint, you're just sharing your screen. Something might pop up even, and it may cause a problem. And then you might see something that's not what the users are supposed to see. And sometimes when you present, also you have that slideshow showing on a different screen, and it's a whole mess. This one is going to all be within Microsoft Teams. Let's go back to the end user and see that text showed up. All right. I see a question. Are there plans for Microsoft to add AI plugins to the PowerPoint? So currently they have two AI plugins that are by default available to users. The first one is the designer. The designer is technically using AI because it's recognizing what's on the slide, what kind of content, and it's adding either a relevant image or a theme or a design that fits what you're talking about. So that's one of the AIs they're using. They're also using the record here, the rehearse with a coach, the slideshow, because it's listening to you and then taking some of what you're saying and giving you feedback on saying, hey, in this area you can improve, you're spending more time. So it's AI that is very specific. There's one called Copilot that they started rolling out, but it's only available to large organizations with 300 plus users and specific MVPs that can get access to it. So it's not readily available to everyone. I actually used it, Copilot, in PowerPoint. It's still not where it should be. Basically, it's pointing you to other AIs that they already have within PowerPoint, but it's not going to do anything that's not already within PowerPoint. The one things that it might do is that it's not still there. It will generate 10 slides based on text that you give it or based on a Word document. It will create those very quickly, and then you need to ask it again to design it for you or add additional features. It's still in early stages. They're planning in 2024 to add it, but it's going to come at a cost of at least $30 per user per month. But you can ask your representative and the company you work with to see if they're going to bring in any of those features. All right. I want to show you other presenting options. If you still want to share your screen, I like the reading mode presentation because this one will keep it within the deck and you can share it as a window. It's not doing that presenter mode where you have to swap between screens. It is, you can slide it right and left. You can move it however you want, minimize it. Because when you present, it's always full screen. But let's say you only have one monitor and you're doing a presentation on the go and you don't have access to have two screens so you can look on left and right. Use this feature. This is read-only mode, allows you to minimize it and make it a smaller presentation as you see fit, and then you can present it. So let me go to Microsoft Teams. I'm going to stop sharing, stop presenting, and I'm going to hit the share button now. And you can see it instead of a screen, you can see it as a window. There you go. So now I'm sharing only this PowerPoint window, not my whole screen, and I can still do other things. From the perspective of the other individual, that's how they see it. They see only that presentation, they don't see anything else. All right, I'm going to stop presenting here, go back to the PowerPoint deck. So that we use the present in Teams button on the top right of your presentation. And then the shortcuts when you're presenting, sometimes you need to do something, you're already in the middle of a presentation, then hit the F1 key. The F1 key will give you all the shortcuts of what's available to you when you are presenting. So I'm going to hit the present button. I hit F1, and then I see everything I can do. How can I move between slides? How can I get the pointer? Return to the first slide, Control T, for example, and it will take me back to the first slide, Control T. Not doing it. First record media, ink. If you want to add the laser pointer, you can also do it from here. There's another button that Microsoft recently also added, is the record here on the top right. This one, if you select it, you can, I showed it earlier, but you can narrate using the record button and you can see your text, you can see your slides, and you can record yourself, and then you can add it as a slide to your presentation. So as you can see here, I don't have any script added, but you can use it to do that with a video as well. Okay, so to add this one, the snipping tool, to my taskbar, I use this snipping tool, which is not the PowerPoint one. It's just a built-in Microsoft for Windows 10. The icon looks a little bit different than this. Windows 11, that's how it looks, and you just right-click on it and then pin to your taskbar, and that's how it showed up here at the bottom right. Now, you can use the one within PowerPoint. It's in the Insert tab, and then it's the screenshot icon right here. This one, you can't really use it unless PowerPoint is open. and you have a presentation, you hit the insert button. And there's a shortcut also to create a new, which is, I use the Control Shift S, and that will allow me to create a new, even if it's not open. Not working now. Oh, the Windows key, Shift S, Windows key and Shift and S, and you can take a screenshot without even having to click on it. And it adds it automatically to your clipboard. Once it's added to your clipboard, you can paste it anywhere you want. You can paste it in PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, and so on. The PowerPoint Live, where I presented from the PowerPoint itself, you can actually also do the same thing. If you have multiple decks open, you can't find it, you know the title of that presentation, it will do the same thing from that share button, and it will add your presentation to it. And then another thing, if your camera is on, let me turn on my camera. So the same thing, you could, let me see if it's working. You can do the presenter mode and add yourself right next to the slide, for example. So this one now on the other end, it's probably not working in my VDI, but you can see the presenter right next to the presentation or even embedded within that presentation. Just when I did the video, maybe I can show you guys this feature. Yep, camera's on. But yeah, you can select any of these presenter modes, and if it's side by side, it will show me on the right, just like in this session. You can do the standout, which will put me on top of the presentation. And then the last one is the reporter. It looks like a reporter giving the presentation. All right. That's about it. I'm sure the recording will be uploaded, shared with everybody, but feel free to reach out to me or anyone else from the organizers, and we can answer any question you have. Hopefully this was helpful.